6 hits, walk the guy in the first 2 innings, but then come down and settle down. What did he do to change what he was doing on the hill?
I think, you know, as it was, he was so deliberate, you know. I mean, I think what happened was he just wasn't throwing strikes. I think he was trying to be too fine, and then he got away with it. You know, he made a good pitch when he had to. He struck out Miller and a strikeout and a throw him out. That was huge, and he gave him a couple hits. You know, it's one guy, you get one out, you could turn the whole game around, and I don't think he really did anything different. He just started throwing, you know, a pitcher's pitch when he had to, and that one time. Here's a big play right here. You know, strike 3, throw him out by a mile. I'm surprised that Miller didn't really swing at this pitch.
Yeah, that was huge, Jerry, and the Red Sox just were not able to cash in early, and then Andy Pettitte, just awesome.
Well, it's pretty simple, but, you know, Andy Pettitte has won a lot of big games over the years for the New York Yankees. Joe Torre loves the guy, and he knows anytime there's a pressure situation, he has complete confidence in Andy Pettitte, and I feel the same way about the guy. And tonight's a great example. You know, he goes into the first 2 innings. He really didn't have very much, but he continues to battle, and he does that all the time for the Yankees. And I'll tell you, anytime that you need a big game or a big win, that's the guy that Joe Torre wants on the mound. Ortiz hits the ball here pretty hard, but right at Derek Jeter. The Red Sox offense had a chance to knock Pettitte out of this game in the first couple of innings. Instead, they let him off the hook. There's a pop-up by Millar, and then Pettitte just got stronger and stronger as the game gone on. So another great performance. Not a great performance, but a very good performance by Andy Pettitte tonight.
Especially considering the way the ball game started. He's going to be a free agent. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens to him in the offseason, because he also has all of this postseason experience, Jerry.
And also, George wanted to trade him about 3 years ago. Remember that? I think George probably now would like to sign him again.
Yeah, that would be a good move. How about the guys in the bullpen, Dennis? You had Jose Contreras. I mean, he looked very good.
Oh, Contreras, this guy, I mean, he might have something to do with the rest of this series, because this is a go-to guy the way he can pitch. He can punch people out. A big pitch when he came in was when Nomar was up. And Nomar swings at the first pitch. I know that's what Nomar does, but he swings at the first pitch right from the get-go. And I guess it's a good pitch to swing at because he's going to get a fastball, and he doesn't have to worry about that nasty split finger. But you got to wonder, you know, first pitch swinging, that's Nomar.
I think Contreras is going to be a key figure in the remainder of this series, because remember, one of the problems the Yankees have had all season long is getting to Mariano Rivera. Well, it looks like right now they've got that guy to get there. I mean, this guy's forkball is absolutely nasty. There's a fastball that's up around 97 miles an hour to Ramirez to go along with that forkball after that just really tumbles. It's not a splitter. It's really a forkball, and it really tumbles off the table. I'll tell you, this guy could be a key factor in the series, because if they get 6 or 7 out of their starters, and Contreras pitches like this, then you get to Rivera.
And once you get to Rivera, he's a different pitcher than what we saw early in the year.
I couldn't believe what I was watching tonight, Bob. Yeah. You know, all the games I did this year against the Yankees, I think he topped out at 93 miles an hour. He was 94, 95 tonight, and that's a huge difference when you throw the cut fastball. So this is a different Rivera than we saw during the regular season.
And you're talking about Rivera. He's all prepped right tonight to go in the 8th and 9th inning. As it turns out, the double makes it 6-2. He sits back down, and then we had to watch Contreras throw 97 with a little split. I mean, this guy's nasty, and he's back to what he was. People said he's not throwing the ball the way he can. I tell you what, he's right back where he always was. 94 on your hands. This guy's nasty.
Well, Dennis, you have that playoff experience, of course. You've been there. Just take me through what the Red Sox are thinking right now. They won the first game. You go into this series, I imagine you're saying you want to get a split at Yankee Stadium. That's what the Red Sox did.
No, I mean, when you go to Yankee Stadium and you get 1 out of 2, that's good enough. But see, the thing is, when you get the first one, you get... You know, you're a glutton, man. You want both of them, you know, because you got Petey coming back. But you know something? You take 1 out of 2 and come home.
Well, you're exactly right. You hope for a split, but when, as you mentioned, when you hit that first one, you want that second. If they win this ball game tonight, you come back with Pedro Martinez pitching at 4 o'clock here at the Fenway Park. You're probably talking about a 3-0 lead in the series in a very short series. Now it's really going to be a series.
Jerry, how about Derek Lowe, the way he pitched tonight? What do you think?
I thought, you know, Bob, some good, some bad. I thought the Yankees at times had some very poor at-bats against him. I remember a 2-0 count to Bernie Williams early in the game where he went for an outside pitch instead of looking for a ball middle in. A couple of the left-handers trying to pull that sinker again, hooking him. But then they had some other guys that had some pretty good at-bats as the game went on. So it was not a bad performance, I thought, by Derek Lowe. But also the Yankees had opportunities in this game to knock him out of that game a little bit earlier because they had the bases loaded. A couple of different situations they couldn't get it done.
Did it look like to you that they made some adjustments against him after those first couple of innings?
Yeah, I think so. You know, look, if you're a left-handed hitter against a sinker ball pitch, you've got to be thinking up the middle the other way. And if you try to pull that, you're going to wear out the second baseman all day long. They did that early in the game, and I think they did make some adjustments later on.
It was the close ball game until the Yankees basically blowing it open. Scott Sauerbeck comes in, and he has not been on the hill in a game since September 27th.
You know, you got to wonder why he's in the game. Who else do you go to? Your three go-to guys are Timlin and who am I forgetting? Timlin, Williamson, and Embry. Now, hello. And so he hasn't pitched since who knows what. He was warming up in Oakland for 5 days, and he wasn't even going to smell a game. Next thing you know, he smells this game and throws a ball right down Broadway, and they smoke a ball in the gap and 2-run score, and this game's over after that.
Yeah, were you surprised, Jerry, at all? September 27th, the last time he's been on the Hill. It's a 4-2 ball game. You made an interesting point while we were watching it, though. Just a case of that short porch and right field kind of changes the way you might pitch some guys.
I think that's the only strategy, Bob, that Little was thinking about right there, is switch Posada around to the right side. His only option was the left-handed Sauerbeck at that point. You know, they haven't used the guy at all so far. If he's on the roster, you got to use him somewhere, and they're going to use him probably in a game that they're behind in, like they did tonight. So the option is put the lefty against and switch him around with the bigger part of the ballpark, or bring in a guy like Jones or Arroyo at that spot and continue to let him hit left-handed. They chose that first option. They lost. You know,
he didn't want to take out Lowe to begin with. He goes to the mound and he lets him face Williams, and he lets him walk Williams. He didn't want to take him out.
He let Lowe and Veritek talk him into keeping him into that ball game.
That's probably what he did.
Maybe one batter too long. Let me ask you about pinch running for Giambi. One of the things that we talked about, kind of like late in the game, strategy you see Grady Little sometimes do. What's your philosophy on that?
Well, I was a little surprised at that point because the Red Sox have been a come-from-behind team all year long, and I think this may tell you, or tell us all, what they think now about Rivera. You know, I mean, we saw the Red Sox many times this year come back against Rivera, and the fact is that they know right now that he's pitching a lot better, so maybe by knowing that, in a close ball game, taking Giambi out to get a little more speed in there was probably the thing to do. Now, early in the season, if I had seen that, I said, no, that's crazy, because you might get one more at bat against this guy, and the Red Sox can come back against Rivera. But when I'm watching Rivera tonight, I don't like what I watched tonight. That was pretty nasty.
And I could have scored on that ball from second base. He didn't have to put a pinch runner and ball off the fence.
Red Sox manager Grady Little live at the podium at Yankee Stadium.
Greg, along the same lines, did you give any thought to having Kepler bunt in the second inning in that situation?
No, we didn't get to this point where we are right now by moving runners that early in the ball game, and we're not going to start now.
Another question? Okay, Ed?
When you sort of stand back and take a look at the big picture, you come out of here, if the split, did you get what you wanted done here?
Well, after last night, we didn't get what we wanted to get done here, but the way it turned out, we're going back to Fenway Park after splitting here in a ballpark where it's very hard to win a ball game, and we don't have a choice but to be happy about it right now.
Bob?
Grady, is what you've seen of Contreras the last 2 nights going to affect any thinking process you might have with regard to late inning moves?
It quite possibly could. This is certainly a guy that's throwing the ball very well right now, and he's certainly become a big factor in their decisions also.
Albert?
Do you know if Johnny will be in the lineup on Saturday?
I can't answer that for you right now about Johnny. We'll have to check him out again tomorrow. He did take batting practice today, and he felt much better, so he'll work out again tomorrow, and we'll make that decision.
One or two more if there's anything. Okay. Gordon?
Grady, given some of the things that were said about Ortiz's plate coverage earlier in the season by Clemens and all, any concerns that they buzzed Ortiz there in the 8th? Head-high pitch.
None from our end, no, none at all.
One more if there's anything. Okay, last question here.
You got Pedro going Saturday. Do you feel now that the pitching matchups are in your favor, whereas at the beginning of the series it might have been more difficult?
We like the guy we've got on the mound, and we know we've got a heck of a battle going against us on the other side, and we'll take that day by day. These pitching matchups, sometimes they don't always turn out exactly the way you foresaw them a day before the series starts, and so we take them a day at a time, and we like our man.
Thank you, Grady. We'll wait for Joe Torre, I believe Andy Pettit.
Sox manager Grady Little, it'll be interesting as you look ahead now to Saturday's rematch between Pedro and Roger Clemens. You'll wonder if Roger Clemens, and Pedro too, will deal with that up and in action. Of course, Soriano was hit tonight.
I think it was taken care of tonight, and I really do think the way Ortiz has worn out the Yankees all season long, that there was no question there was a purpose to that pitch by Contreras. Here's a guy out there throwing 96, 97. He comes up and in on a guy that's hit a number of home runs against him this year, and there's a message to that pitch. There's no question about that. Now you follow it up with Arroyo hitting the leadoff for Soriano. The next thing, I'm not sure he did it on purpose, but I wouldn't have done it. I don't want to wake up Soriano. Right now he's brutal in this series. Not at all. And I wouldn't want to put any kind of a motivation behind him at all. I think that stuff's probably done. You got Pedro, you got Roger going in the next game. Those guys are nasty on their own, and I don't think what happened in this game is going to carry over.
No, I don't think so at all.
What about Bronson Arroyo? I mean, I guess we've been calling for him for a while. It's only one inning of work, but it seems to me every time we see him out there, he looks like he keeps guys off balance.
Well, I think he's nasty. I mean, to a right-handed hitter. I mean, I said it before, he's got this double-breaking Frisbee act that goes, you know, tough on a right-handed hitter. This kid knows how to pitch. Now, whether or not they're going to use him, you can't be afraid to use him now because he threw the ball well. As far as Sauerbeck, I can't go to this guy the rest of the series, and I'm surprised they went to him tonight.
You know, Arroyo, I've been saying the same thing all along. I didn't see enough of him at the end of the season, but everything I did see from him, I loved what he did. And, you know, why have him on the roster if you're not going to use him? Have somebody else out there. He could have been like I shouldn't say this, but remember K-Rod last year? Yeah. I'm not saying that effective, but the same kind of effect. They don't really know him. When you don't have familiarity with a pitcher, I think it makes it more difficult, and he's got that kind of slider that can get right-handers out.
One of the great things I think about pitching in Boston, especially for a young pitcher coming up, is you almost get a playoff feel almost every night at Fenway Park.
That's true. There's no question about that. And, you know, what surprised me about him is a guy that's coming up from the minor leagues, and he doesn't seem to be affected by it. And he came up here in the middle of a pennant race, full house every night. He's done fine.
Yeah, but we're sitting over here being worried about Arroyo. I mean, we're in trouble because if he has to come in this game, we're not in a really good position.
No, but Dennis, he could have maybe come into that situation that Sauerbeck came into. You keep it 4-2, and you don't know where the game goes to. So if they have more confidence in him, maybe it could help the bullpen.
Well, I like the fact that he came into the game because, you know, in a game like this, you have to get your feet wet. This kid probably doesn't know. He doesn't know where he is right now. Now he's in New York pitching in a playoff game, so it's nice to get your feet wet. All
right, let's take a time out here on W.B. Mason's Extra Innings. We'll come back. We'll look ahead to Game 3 at Fenway Park and dissect this one a little bit more. More post-game reaction as well as the Yankees even it up with a 6-2 win.
When you find out that the Accord EX-V6 has a 240 horsepower engine, an available voice-activated navigation system, XM satellite radio, and heated leather seats, you may see the Accord in a whole new light. The Accord EX-V6 for 2004 from Honda.
Elm trees used to line the streets. Then there was a blight and they were gone. Except in Asia, where elms are plentiful.
You promised that furniture shopping will never be the same.
Now, the Bobbinizer 2 in solid elm. Try finding solid elm anywhere at any price, never mind only $19.99.
It's gorgeous, and the grain is so fine.
If you buy elsewhere without seeing this solid elm bedroom for only $19.99, you have done yourself a huge disservice.
It was the crime of the century. Babe Ruth sold to the New York Yankees.
And I meant to find out why.
From W.B. Mason's low-price assurance detective.
The name's Mason, W.B. Mason. We were searching for clues to explain why the Red Sox sold Babe Ruth when I spotted a familiar suspect.
Hello, boys.
Ever seen this before?
My office supply bill, so?
So, that's high. So high, the Red Sox sold something big to pay it.
Something big? Oops.
If only the Red Sox had saved money on my office supplies. Who knows what might have been?
Who knew?
Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew? Who knew? Who knew?
Who but W.B. Mason?
Tonight's show is brought to you by W.B. Mason, the official office product supplier of the Boston Red Sox.
And Joe Torre calling this a must-win for the Yankees. He said if they lost, though, he would just say Saturday was a must-win as well. The Red Sox would grab the early lead. Damian Jackson getting the start instead of Todd Walker, and Jackson delivers up the middle to score Jason Varitek. The Sox up 1-0. But in the bottom of the second, it's Nick Johnson unloading against Derek Lowe.
Nick Johnson right there got a cut fastball from Derek Lowe. Not too many of those from Lowe tonight, and not very good ones from Derek Lowe. He had a pretty good sinker, but not a good cutter. This you'll see right here does not get in on him, just a little spin on that baseball. And Nick Johnson, in my opinion, in a couple of years is going to be one of the top hitters in the American League. Takes him deep.
Bottom of the third, the Yankees will add their lead. Bernie Williams into right field, and Derek Jeter in to score, and it's a 3-1 Yankees lead. Go to the bottom of the fifth, 2 outs. Yankees doing some of their damage with 2 outs, and it's Hideki Matsui finding the hole and sneaking it into right field. Bernie Williams will score. Matsui will get tagged out in the rundown, but the damage was done to the Yankees with a 3-run lead at 4-1. Sox offense, meanwhile, very quiet against Andy Pettitte after coming up with 6 hits and a walk in the first 2 innings until Jason Varitek goes deep.
He hits a absolute rope here. He gets a fastball out over the plate, and he knows what to do with it. It's a rocket.
Sox back to within 2. It's 4-2, but Jorge Posada with 2 outs will pretty much put the game out of reach, Jerry.
And, you know, the interesting thing about that is the breaking ball is the best pitch for Sauerbeck. That was a fastball right there to Posada, in fact, and Posada puts it in the gap for the double, and then really ball game's over after that. So I was a little bit surprised to see him throw a fastball in that situation.
Well, yeah, I think as a hitter, Williams is saying, not Williams, but Posada's saying this guy can't throw a breaking ball for a strike, you know, because he knows he can't throw a breaking ball. He throws him a high fastball and he crushes it.
Last night, Joe Torre was disappointed. Tonight, he can talk about a Yankee win. Let's go back to the Bronx.
Knowing what to say to Nick, knowing what to say to Jason these past couple weeks, how to treat the team after these Game 1 losses. When did you develop that? How did that develop through the years, and where do you feel you are now with all that?
Well, you know, I think a lot of it comes from playing and knowing how bad you want to do something sometimes, that you realize something other than talking about baseball has got to help, and letting people know it's okay to be nervous at times, or it's okay to be excited. That's all part of the human being that you are, and that's really just knowing how I felt as a player. You know, when I hit into a double play, which unfortunately was quite often, and you know, to lose a game, I felt responsible. So I think I just took my experiences and just try to just relieve some of the tension, because there's so much more tension now than when I played. First, I never played on a pennant winner. Secondly, there's so much coverage and so much more scrutiny now than there was back then.
Interesting, last night when we came out of Joe Torre's comments, I talked about how relaxed and calm he was after a loss, after a win, basically the same thing.
Well, what I find interesting about his comments there is Joe has never forgotten what it was like to play. You know, it's interesting. He goes up to talk to players, and he remembers what it was like to be in tough situations and relax. You try to teach him how to relax and think of other things to calm him down. And the other thing, Joe Torre tonight was as scared as you could possibly be. I don't care what he says. If he loses this ball game tonight, he knows that he could get swept out of this series very, very quickly.
I mean, he was so calm last night anyway. I mean, last night was easy. It's a wash. He lost to Wakefield. Forget about it. But, you know, what I like about him is everybody likes a guy like that. I mean, he admits to the fact that we're all human beings. We're going to be nervous. And you know, he said he's never played in a position like this before. But I'll tell you what, he has managed a lot, so he knows what to do with it.
He certainly has. I'm going to ask you guys, put you on the spot about Game 3 coming up. It is Pedro Martinez against Roger Clemens. We'll do that next on WB Mason's Extra Innings on NESN.
My team counts on me to give a great performance. Kick after kick after kick.
Now during truck season, get up to $4,000 cash back or 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,000 Ford credit bonus cash on Ford Ranger, the #1 selling truck in its segment 15 years in a row. Ranger with up to $4,000 cash back or 0% financing for 72 months plus $1,000 Ford credit bonus cash.
Truck season going on now at your New England Ford dealer.
You bring me Masaka or it's your badge! Come on, Buddy Lee. Let's make like a tree and go.
Look out, Buddy Lee!
I got to get me some of those jeans.
With your first love comes a first breakup. And with that first breakup comes an older brother.
You'll be okay.
Who knows just the right thing to say.
Come on, let's go to Friendly's.
Right now, try Friendly's Chicken Fajita Salad, our new steak fajita entree salad, or any of our delicious fajitas, and get a hot fudge sundae free.
Here you go. You and me and Friendly's.
The Hyundai Elantra, a comparison. More standard features than a Toyota Corolla LE. All for over $1,700 less when comparably equipped. And only the Elantra is protected by America's best warranty. 10 years, 100,000 miles. Looks like we have a winner. Test drive the Hyundai Elantra. Nicely equipped for just $12,399 at your Hyundai dealer. Hurry into the Hyundai winning season clearance and get up to $2,000 cash back or 0% APR for up to 60 months.
All right, here's the box score. Gabe Kapler actually a big figure in this ball game. He bounced into a double play in the second inning, had a base hit to start the game, and then he was thrown out on the back end of a strike him out, throw him out double play. Offensively for the Red Sox, kind of a strange night, Jerry.
The two things I look at here, Manny Ramirez couldn't follow last night's four-hit effort. I think it was 4 hits last night, right? Yes. With only one tonight, the single. And David Ortiz came into the game hitting very, very well against Andy Pettit, but not tonight. 0 for 3 in this ball game tonight. And, of course, in that middle of the lineup, Millar 0 for 4. Not much done right there. So when you don't get those guys hitting, you're generally not going to score too many runs.
I'll tell you what, the Red Sox were styling. Jackson was at the plate. He got an RBI single. The first run off Pettit, we had him on the ropes. You got a ninth hitter getting an RBI single. You think this game is on its way to being our side, and we just, that double play ball killed him.
Well, the first 5 batters to face Andy Pettit, 4 of them reach, but because of the strike him out, throw him out double play, they end up not scoring.
Well, you know what they say, when you get great pitches out, there are very good pitches. If you don't get them early, you're not going to get them at all, and that was certainly the case tonight. They had chances in the first 2 innings against a guy that was certainly not on top of his game, but once he got on top of his game, it made it awful tough for the Red Sox.
Pitching, Derek Lowe got the start for the Red Sox, and he goes 6 2/3 innings. I think you said it best, Jerry. Okay, I guess is the best way to describe how he pitched tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a bad outing. I wouldn't say it was a very good outing. It was just, he was out there, he somewhat kept him in the ball game without his best stuff. But also, the Yankees, for their part, had many chances, a couple of chances to knock Derek Lowe out of the ball game, and had some bad at-bats against him and gave him a chance to hang it around for the 6 2/3.
6 earned runs in 6 2/3 innings. It looks kind of ugly, but that hit after Sauerbeck's name is really what painted 2 runs on him, so it really made it look bad. But at the same time, just like Jerry said, he could have been worse for Lowe. He got out of a tough bases-loaded situation, too. So this was really a lack of anybody really taking, making this thing worse than it could have been either way.
Well, Todd Walker got the night off. He did have a pinch hit appearance, but it was Damian Jackson getting the start at second base. He had the first RBI of the night. We'll go back to New York.
He was changing speeds real well, hitting strikes on both sides of the plate, giving a perception like his curveball was going to be a strike and it would just fall off the table, and throwing his cutter hard in at times, and it was a good display of keeping everybody off balance at times.
Damon, you had 6 hits in the first 2 innings of the team. Did you do anything different after that? Did you change anything? Did you notice anything different as the game went on?
I don't think so. I think we might have gotten a little aggressive, but and it just didn't work in our favor. But we got a few more games to play, and we got to try to keep our focus and win those.
Again, did you guys taking a split here? That's obviously, when you win the first game, it's not what you want. But overall, if you got one out of here, is that a good thing? Exactly.
I mean, you got to feel good about yourself coming out of here with 1. Like I said, 2 would have been great, but 1 is good, and I'm not trying to sound complacent here, but we still got some ball to play, and we knew there was going to be a big challenge against these guys.
Well, Damian Jackson, I guess, noted for his defense, but he committed an error tonight. Looking at the lineup when the game was started, Jerry, I was thinking to myself, why is this guy starting over Todd Walker?
Well, I think he's been doing that right along with Derek Lowe on the mound. For some reason, Lowe feels more comfortable. Obviously, they think he's a better defensive player than Todd Walker. We were just talking while the soundbite was on. The surprise there was, I think, was having Jackson hit 9th and Kapler first. Right. You've got 2 guys back-to-back that are really not, big hitters. So that's 2 pretty easy outs, even though he did get the base hit driving a run for Andy Pettit, the 9 and the 1 guy. It's almost like facing the 8th hitter in the National League and then the pitcher following him. I don't want to put him in the category of the pitcher, but you know what I mean.
But when you lose a Walker and you lose a Johnny Damon is so important to this team. And then you look at this lineup like that and you're saying, geez, who else could we have put in the number 1 slot? Then you're thinking about maybe Veritek, later in the... I mean, this is tough to do.
Well, Dennis, because of the fact that Johnny Damon was not in the lineup because he was hurt, would that give you any more would you, if you're Grady Little, would you be more inclined to stay with Todd Walker?
Well, I mean, I myself, I thought about Jackson. You know, I haven't watched him as much as you have, Jerry, but, you know, to me, defensively, I'm sure he's got a lot more range, but he scares me. This guy's like, you know, a loose cannon out there, and a play tonight that was made, you know, it's a line drive sinker to him. You know, that could have been disastrous, you know. There's always a play to him that's really important. It didn't cost him tonight, but this play right here is huge. I know he got paranoid here and had to hurry up and throw it, but that could have been trouble right there. Luckily, Derek got out of this inning.
If the Red Sox had been behind in this series 0-1, I think I would have been more concerned about not having Walker in the lineup. Now, Walker's been swinging the bat great, and, you know, you'd love to see him in there every day, but this is something they've gone to for the last month that has worked for him. As you see this play, he just really basically took his eye off the ball, and then it rolls out, and then he makes a bat throw to second base where he still could have got the force out. But, you know, if they were down 0-1 and you had this lineup, I think you could make much more out of it than up 0-1.
Right. Does it change, though, when a guy is as hot as Todd Walker is right now at the plate? I mean, this guy is having some kind of postseason that I think he's going to be remembered for a long time here in Boston.
You know what managers do sometimes is there are certain pitches that give you trouble. Now, Todd Walker was only 0 for 4 against Andy Pettitte. We really don't have a history there. We don't know. But when a guy's swinging the bat real well, especially a lefty against a lefty, sometimes it's better not to play him against him because he can get him into a slump by making him have a bad night.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of things they did tonight because they were up 1-0. And I think maybe this would have been different, like he said, if they weren't.
And Todd Walker got his chance to hit, and he hit.
Yes, he did. So that's the toughest reliever in the league.
All right, let's look ahead a little bit to Game 3. It's Pedro and Roger Clemens. It's what we had in 1999. And, of course, we'll never forget what happened to Roger Clemens in 1999. It had to be one of the toughest moments of Roger Clemens' career.
Well, once again, Roger gets to come back to Fenway Park where he thought it was his last start last time he had to pitch. But now this is a bigger start than that. And I see Roger coming up big for this game. This is huge. And I think he's just as tough as Petey. And I think this is the greatest matchup going closer to the last 4 years ago.
Well, Jose Offerman had the triple that kind of got it going, but we'll remember John Valentin's home run on the ball game as well. And Clemens ends up going 2 innings, gives up 5 runs on 6 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Pedro simply outclassing him. And this had to be the longest walk of Roger's life.
Yeah, it certainly was. You know, that's ancient history right now. You're talking about 2 different guys, obviously at different stages in their career. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know what to make about this matchup. I think I know what Pedro's going to bring to the table. Pretty much the same thing every game, but I don't know what Roger's going to bring. He's had some strange games here at Fenway Park. He's been outstanding at times, and other times he's been just terrible. So, you know, it's hard to tell with Roger what he's going to bring, especially at this stage of his career. The thing that scares me about Clemens right now, he's down to his final couple of starts, you know, and in his career time, it's over. It's the Hall of Fame
right now.
He's going to be in with Eck, you know, 5 years after Eck gets in. So
that's going to let it all hang out.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what scares me right now about Clemens. And the other thing that concerns me, Bob, is that Pedro, he doesn't have a great record against the Yankees. They battle him very, very hard, and they have the same approach all the time. They try to take a lot of pitches. They try to run up his pitch count. That's nothing new. A lot of teams do that, but they seem to do it better than anybody, and they always seem to be in the game against Pedro.
Pedro's such a proud guy. Do you think it affected him at all to be hearing the Yankee fans chanting, "We want Pedro"? I mean, that was pretty impressive to hear the Yankee crowd doing that.
Well, that gets you psyched up. I mean, imagine being in Yankee Stadium, and they're saying, "We want you." I mean, that's how bad this guy's a bad tapper is what he is. And everybody wants him, and he's ready. I mean, he's ready. He's not the Pedro of old, though. He doesn't throw that gas. You know, they talk about him, you know, when he dials it up, he's going to throw 95. He doesn't really have that major gas that he used to have, but this guy could pitch, and he's going to be sky high for this game.
I don't know if he has to be motivated at all, Jerry, but he got a pretty good laugh out of it.
Pedro's not a guy that has to be motivated. He's a very proud guy. Every time he takes the mound, he wants to embarrass the other team. That's the kind of pitcher he is, and that's why he's a great pitcher.
Well, it will be the Roger Clemens against Pedro Martinez, and will Johnny Damon play center field? That's a question that Johnny Damon answered before the ball game tonight.
Headaches, grogginess, blurriness, anything?
A little bit of blurriness when I wake up because my eyes just close up. So I have to definitely, you know, I hate to do it, but I have to take a shower when I wake up now. You know, I normally like to get to the ballpark, jump in the hot tub, and then jump in the shower there. But I've got to jump in the shower a little earlier than I want, and just so I can see a little bit better. But it's going to be, hopefully it'll be 100% here in the next next day or so.
What are your plans?
How important, Dennis, is it for them to get Johnny Damon back in the lineup?
I mean, I tell you what, this guy is huge for this lineup. There's no doubt in my mind that this guy is so important to this lineup. So I think that just gives them an edge, just the fact that he's coming back.
And let's hope he's coming back. You know, there's no way to tell. I mean, certainly tonight he didn't look like he was ready to play. He did take some batting practice, he said, but he did nothing else. He didn't do any running. He didn't take any fly balls. You know, you just don't know with a concussion how long that's going to last for him and when he's really going to be clear. Hopefully it will be by Saturday. Another thing to be concerned about on Saturday, this is a 4 o'clock start, I think, at Fenway.
Right.
If it's a sunshiny day, with those two guys on the mound, there's going to be some nasty shadows out there. So that's going to be another consideration on Saturday.
All right, let's take a time out here on WB Mason's Extra Innings. We'll come back and we'll wrap it up and get you ready for Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. It is now a best-of-5 with your Boston Red Sox now owning home field advantage.
Subaru, driven by what's inside. Now get 0% financing on all Subaru models and up to $2,000 customer cash back. Plus, special factory-to-dealer incentives make this a great time to buy a new Subaru. Subaru, America's #1 selling all-wheel drive vehicle. Offer ends October 31st, 2003. For details and a list of local Subaru dealers, go to newenglandsubaru.com. Subaru, driven by what's inside.
Starting with me, everything in this place is mean and miserable.
Is that a tear in your eye, Private? Do you want your mommy? Are you going to cry?
I'll kick the tradition and chivalry out of you. I suggest you shut your mouth.
I can't hear you!
Nothing is over until we decide it is.
Just one more thing. Don't ever make me mad.
Sweet dreams, ladies! Straight left, right left. Ha!
Tune in for college football.
Let me bounce this number off you.
At Quirk Chevrolet, save up to $10,000 on the longest-lasting, most dependable truck on the road, Chevy Silverado. All this and savings up to $10 grand only from the guy who wants you to wear the gold bow tie. Quirk Chevrolet gets you from 0 to 60 in record time with financing as low as 0% for up to 60 months on Maine's #1 selling truck. Up to $10,000 in savings, down to 0% financing. Think you can get a better deal than Quirk Chevrolet? Then you don't know Jack.
Hi, I'm Brian Walker with Ogden Directories. We really appreciate all the calls we've received about this year's edition of the Big Book that you recently received in the mail. Please keep reaching for the Big Book for all your needs. And support the advertisers who really make this directory possible. Remember, it's your town, we're your neighbors, and it's your phone book.
Call us today to advertise 942-2950 or toll free 877-246-8179.
Heat. On. Take off warning horn. Check. Parking brake. Set. Radio's radar and transponder. Set and standing by. Sunscreen. SPF 15. That's check.
Fly Southwest Airlines from Manchester or Providence to any city we fly in Florida for just $79 each way.
Cool shades. On.
You are now free to move about the country.
When you're playing to win, you always put in your toughest players.
That's why it's the season for Ford Super Duty, truck season.
Ford Super Duty has the most pulling power on the planet.
Now during truck season, get Super Duty with up to $4,000 cash back or 0% financing. Qualified commercial customers are eligible for a $1,000 upfit reimbursement. That's up to $4,000 cash back or 0% financing on Super Duty.
Truck season going on now at your New England Ford dealer. The Hyundai Act.
Tonight's show is brought to you by WB Mason, the official office product supplier of the Boston Red Sox.
Hey, Andy, did you go back into the dugout after that second inning and kind of feel like it was a huge relief that you only got through that with just one?
There's no doubt about it. I felt good about it. You know, to get out of that inning with just giving up one, and just knew that I knew that I threw so many pitches through the first 2 innings, and was just trying to figure out a way how I was going to last a little bit in the game. But just knew that if I could, you know, hold them there at 1, and you know, again, like I said, you really don't feel like you're going to be able to just shut them out. But if you could keep it close late in the game, you know, it really is the strategy, you know, and give us a chance. And, you know, Nick got the big home run and did a great job. Georgie stayed with me again all night and had great patience with me because, again, I was fighting myself so bad And the team played great. Defensively, we were great. You know, some big hits when we needed to. And then what can you say about Hosey? Came in and just stuff's just electric, and did a great job there in relief.
Final thought on Andy Pettitte, guys, is that's the Andy Pettitte you have to beat when he has that kind of night.
I agree. You know, we didn't see the best Andy Pettitte even when he was going through the Red Sox lineup after the first 2 innings. So as you get deeper and deeper into the series, and you're going to see Pettitte again, he's got better than this to show the Red Sox.
Pitching for the Red Sox in Game 3, it's Pedro Martinez, and for the Yankees, it's Roger Clemens.
You know, they said last, century it was the matchup of the century. Well, this is a new century, and I guess this is a match of this century. But these two boys are going to be going at it. I'll tell you what, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how. It's going to be 4:30. You can't see. If the sun's out, this might be lights out for both teams.
Well, for me personally, you know, as a former position player, I always thought about offense, but as in the current job that I'm in now, I love to see good pitching. I really do. And this, you know, again, should be a great matchup. You hope that both guys bring the best to the table. They both have their A game. If they do, it's going to be an awful long afternoon for the hitters on both sides. But these are the kind of things, you know, I dream about. I mean, I love to watch great pitchers pitch.
It's going to be awesome. Last time around in 1999, the Red Sox coming back to Fenway Park after 2 heartbreaking losses, 2 one-run losses. Now they come back after getting the split. They've got to be thrilled, Dennis.
Oh, definitely. I mean, any situation where you got Pedro on the mound and it's tied 1-1, you are not going to see Roger Clemens get lit up like he did last time. This is going to be a great match.
Bigger game for the Red Sox and the Yankees?
You know something? I think the Red Sox are disappointed tonight. They're going to say we're happy 1-1, and they are. They have to be. But, boy, they could have been 2-0 in this thing, and this thing could have been lights out, I think, in 5 games for them. So I think they have to be a little disappointed tonight they didn't come out with that win. You know, get greedy. You're in the playoffs. If you take 2 at Yankee Stadium, now you're coming home for 3. You may never go back to New York. Now coming home, there's a pretty good chance they will go back.
And we say, where's the pressure for Game 3? Who has more pressure?
Well, I think Roger has the pressure. Roger's coming to a hostile crowd. Anytime you're coming back home, they play so well at home. I mean, they come to play when they play, and I think Roger's going to be the one that's going to be uptight.
All right, that's it. And that will do it for our coverage tonight here on W. Mason's Extra Innings. For Jerry Remy and Dennis Eckersley, I'm Bob Rogers. Thanks for watching, everybody. Once again, your final score from Yankee Stadium. The Yankees beat the Red Sox 6-2. And this has been an exclusive presentation of Nesson, your ticket to Boston Red Sox baseball. Good night.